and it's something that I think is a very interesting topic in the NFL that doesn't get discussed enough, and it is how current NFL trends affect draft decisions or just executive decisions in general. And I'm going to take you back, okay? We'll just do a small case study of this. In 2017, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. How did they win the Super Bowl? They won it two ways. One, dominant middle of the field passing game, RPO. Yes. Two, and the other thing was they spent a lot of money in free agency.
Yes.
That
a lot of free agency. Yep.
2018 offseason, how did the league trend? It trended in two ways. One, everybody was overspending, and two, Baker Mayfield was the first pick in the draft because he was one of the most dominant RPO quarterbacks we've seen in the history of college football. He ate up the middle of the field in Oklahoma. Yeah. Then, in 2018, Sean McVay took the Rams to the Super Bowl. And everybody remembers this trend. The trend was find your Sean McVay. So Cliff Kingsbury got hired. Matt LaFleur got hired. I mean, we don't know the merits of all
any white guy who's 35 got hired.
Right. Yeah. Everybody was looking for the next Sean McVay.
Yeah.
To me, this year's
I'm the next Sean McVay, actually. I almost fit the bone structure and the, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, are you actually?
No, I don't think
I thought you were the next Grant Cohn.
I wish. Oh, man. Okay, so,
Grant Cohn. But so we're going to jump a little ahead of this trend, right? Because I think the NFL trend this year, and I think it's always a shocking thing. It's because it has to have shock value. Teams have to think it's not going to work. And people wrote off Josh Allen so strongly. And Josh Allen came on the scene and is without a doubt a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I think that's the trend this year. Teams are going to look to find their Josh Allen, whatever that is.
And not just teams, but like the media and scouts too. They're like, forget everything we thought we knew about quarterbacks. I was wrong about Josh Allen, and I'm not going to be wrong about a player like that again. So now all I'm going to look at is tools. That's it.
Right. Tools. And so I think this is something really to be interested in and look at because Josh Allen, let's be honest, in terms of just physical tools, this is the most gifted quarterback I've ever seen. Maybe Mahomes is the only one in the same conversation. I've never seen an arm this strong. He's so big. He is so imposing. He's so fast. And, I mean, the improvement also of his game, like, he had all these tools, but the improvement of all his game and the way he's refined himself in things that growing up in the NFL, that, like, not growing up in the NFL, but growing up observing the NFL, I was always told by, like, people who covered it and stuff that the things that Josh Allen didn't have were the things you can't teach. The touch, accuracy, the it factor, the movement, all the accuracy, the touch, all of this. People said, "Oh, that's the it. Only some people have that. You can't teach that." And they said, "You can teach arm strength." Blah blah blah. They always said that, right? They said strong arm isn't important. When in reality, one, strong arm is very important. But that's besides the point. But two, Josh Allen was able to develop all those skills, which brings me to, and I don't want to just zero in on one person, but it brings me to the point that I think that this NFL draft, it's going to be a lot about not just at quarterback. I think we're going to see a lot of different positions where height, weight, speed prospects, because DK Metcalf is another one that teams overlooked. And I think we're going to see a trend of guys who have spectacular traits physically, maybe not at the level of Josh Allen or DK Metcalf, because those are super aliens, are going to get overdrafted.
And this is just going to lead to different types of busts, in my opinion, because just looking at tools is not a more scientific way of scouting quarterbacks than whatever they were doing in the past. It's just kind of like flip-flopping, pulling a 180. It's really, really, really hard to scout quarterbacks because for a lot of reasons, but I feel like one of the big reasons is so much depends on where they go and the situation they go to and the team's culpability in their failure or success. And they don't look at that. So when they look at like Justin Herbert or they look at Josh Allen succeeding, well, he didn't play well his first year. And Buffalo really was patient with him and stuck by him and didn't fire a bunch of coaches. And they surrounded him with good play. Brought in Stephon Diggs. I mean, maybe Diggs helped a lot. Maybe without Diggs, he wouldn't have had his rating wouldn't have been what it was.
No,
so it was kind of he succeeded, but the Bills did right by him. I mean, is Justin Fields going to get the same treatment from the Jets or wherever, or the Falcons or wherever he goes? Maybe he'll fail and it won't. Like DeShone Kizer, for example. DeShone Kizer. A lot of people liked him. He went to the Browns and had to play for Hugh Jackson. And I don't even know where is he still in the league?
No.
I don't even know.
I think he might have recirculated, but he was in Green Bay and Green Bay cut him.
Yeah, it just seems like the guy never got a chance. Like Josh Rosen never got a chance. You know,
It's tough too.
yeah.
It's tough too because when you go to the situation that Deshaun Kaiser did, you got to be really special to get up that next year and find yourself, find your confidence, and improve your play. Because all you're doing is losing. All you're doing, is taking beatings. You're not given an advantage in terms of coaching. You're not given any sort of thing. And your only opinion of the NFL is that it's impossible. It's difficult. It's hard. It's hard not to sit there and say, well, damn, I might just suck at this. I might not be good at it.
Right. But again, like that's the same thing that Sam Darnold's going through. But he gets the benefit of the doubt. He's still a viable player in the league. People believe that he could be a stud in the right situation. It's interesting which players get that belief.
I know, it. My number one pet peeve. It's my number one pet peeve, and I think it's a problem with how all sports are covered. But I can rant on this all day. I'm not going to rant on it. I think this is something that everybody should be paying attention to, though, because I think the NFL is such a copycat league. Like, I don't think people realize, like, oftentimes it's a copycat league from the owners, from the GMs, every person that makes an executive decision. That's why, like, last year, the Niners run game, it was so unique, so different. If you go look at all the Shanahan guys, they went and added elements of power, elements of gap scheme to their outside zone and inside zone because the Niners added that. The Jets deep motion. When Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan were doing it in 2017, they were doing orbit motion, jet motion, all of that. Not a lot of teams were doing it. Now, if you don't have any sort of motion in your offense, without even watching you, they'll call you a bad offensive coordinator because there's analytics that track your percentage of going in motion. So it's just these trends in the league that you have to pay attention to. And I think it's just a copycat. It's a monkey see, monkey do type of ideology. You're probably going to be wrong looking for the next Josh Allen because you might never find him, but it's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and the bigger point is, like, why is the NFL so bad at scouting the most important position? It's $1 billion enterprise, and the most important thing that they have to figure out is, like, accurately scouting and projecting quarterbacks. I mean, and they can't do it, and they've never been able to do it. It's an exact science. But I think what we're seeing is they overreact to whatever happened last season.
Right.
And it doesn't bring you any closer to the truth.
No, because it's impossible. It's the hardest thing, honestly, to do in sports. And it's honest to God, the hardest thing to do because they come in all shapes and they come in all different shapes and sizes. And so one guy might be very good because of 2 or 3 specific traits, but another guy might be good because of 2 or 3 different traits. And how do you know which trait is more valuable? I think that whoever's good at it, well, that's why they make a lot of money. And I'm just a guy in my bedroom just watching, so I don't have to be good at it.
And who knows, maybe if Patrick Mahomes had gone to Buffalo, he wouldn't have developed in the same way that he developed in Kansas City. And if Josh Allen had gone to Kansas City, maybe he wouldn't have been as good right away. And who knows? I think a lot of times it's just like a guy was the right person for the right place at that time. And it just worked. I don't know.
I 100% agree with that, which is why I don't like getting into the coach or quarterback credit because to me, in reality, it has to work in unison and it has to work in concert. So for that reason, it's a lot of the NFL is, and any type of business is about relationships and marrying the right kind of people together. And so I'm so excited to see this because I can't wait to see what the trend is. Do you have a prediction before we go on what you think the 2021 trend is?
Well, no, not. Well, I think it's the toolsy quarterback thing, the Josh Allen, Justin Herbert.
No.
For next year?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Well, I was going to say was like the other thing that I noticed is how one player gets the next player drafted. I remember as a kid, like Carson Palmer hits and he's great. Well, Matt Leinart must be a first round pick too. Carson Wentz was a big deal. Well, Trey Lance must be the truth too. Or Tua Tagovailoa is the 7th pick. Well, now we got to look at Mac Jones because he might just be maybe Mac Jones is the 7th pick in the draft. And it's like one misevaluation leads to the next misevaluation. And it's just kind of interesting how these people are all evaluated against each other when no one really knows how good the first one guy was coming out of college in the first place. So what do you think is the trend, the next one?
So I think that the number one trend in the NFL, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think that the trend in the NFL, this is what I think it's going to be, because I think you can see parts of what the previous trend is going to be the year before, right? Like the Seattle Seahawks were a very good defense in 2012, And then 2013, they became an all-time great defense. And then the Seattle scheme, everybody had to run the Seattle scheme. Everybody had to run single high safety and match cover 3 zone. And I think the big trend is going to be, we saw a little bit of it this year with what the Rams did with split safety coverage and being able to stop the run with split safety coverage. I think the big deal in the NFL, I mean, the Niners have trended towards it. They've gotten away from, Robert Saleh went away from the Seattle scheme. They run their main coverage now is not cover 3. It's actually quarters. They run cover 4 because they like running split safety.
It's the stuff that Vic Fangio was doing 10 years ago.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers just won a Super Bowl running split safety coverage and running a lot of 2-man. I think
you could argue the Niners would have beaten the Chiefs if they had run more 2. I mean, they got caught on 3rd and 15 in single high. They should have been in 2 high the whole game. Yup. It's important.
Yeah, so I think that's what's going to be the trend of the league. I think that's where it's going to go.